For years, it felt like everyone was falling behind. Wages barely moved. Prices kept climbing, and younger generations were told that wealth was slipping out of reach. Then suddenly, headlines started appearing. Household wealth is surging. Net worth is hitting record highs. Entire countries are experiencing wealth booms. So what changed? Did people suddenly get smarter with money? Did salaries explode overnight? Did productivity skyrocket? No, the wealth boom came from one place: rising house prices. And once you understand how that works, you realize something unsettling. This wealth boom didn't lift everyone. It separated people into two very different groups: those who already owned assets and those who didn't. Housing didn't just become shelter. It became the primary engine of modern wealth. When home prices rise, something strange happens. Nothing new is created. No new product exists. No additional labor is performed. But on paper, millions of people become wealthier. A home bought decades ago for $200,000 is suddenly worth $600,000. The owner didn't build anything new. The neighborhood didn't transform overnight. Yet their net worth just jumped by hundreds of thousands of dollars. That increase shows up in national wealth statistics. It shows up in retirement projections. It shows up in consumer confidence. And that's how a wealth boom appears. But here's the first thing most people miss. Rising house prices don't create wealth the way businesses do. They redistribute it. For every homeowner whose net worth rises, there's a buyer who must now pay more. The wealth boom for one side is a heavier burden for the other. Housing operates like a lever. Those already on the ladder rise higher. Those trying to climb face a steeper wall. And over time, that difference compounds. Homeowners gain equity. Renters pay rising rents that follow property values upward. First-time buyers need larger down payments just to enter the market. This is why housing wealth feels so powerful. It grows quietly, automatically, without effort. And once it starts, it feeds itself. Higher prices increase perceived wealth. Perceived wealth encourages spending. Spending supports the economy. Governments like this effect. Rising home values make voters feel financially secure, even if their income hasn't changed. It props up retirement systems. It stabilizes consumption. But stability for the system doesn't mean fairness for individuals. Here's where the wealth boom becomes deceptive. On paper, nations look richer. Household net worth climbs. Charts trend upward. But liquidity doesn't rise at the same rate. Most of this new wealth is locked inside property. You can't easily spend it. You can't access it without borrowing. And you can't realize it unless you sell. So people don't feel rich. They feel stuck. A homeowner may technically be worth $1 million, but still struggle with monthly cash flow. Their wealth exists, but only inside walls they can't leave. This leads to the next layer of the system: debt. Rising house prices make borrowing easier. Banks are eager to lend against appreciating assets. Home equity becomes collateral. Refinancing turns paper wealth into spendable money. This is where the modern wealth boom really accelerates. People don't sell their homes to use the gains. They borrow against them. That borrowing fuels consumption without raising wages. It allows lifestyles to expand even when income stagnates. This is why economies can grow while workers feel poorer. Debt fills the gap. And the higher house prices go, the more debt becomes normalized. A generation ago, a mortgage might have been modest relative to income. Today, it consumes decades of earnings. Yet it's framed as normal, necessary, even responsible. Home ownership is sold as discipline, as forced savings, as the smart financial move. And for those who entered early, it worked. They rode the wave upward. But for those entering late, the math changes. Higher prices mean higher monthly payments, higher interest costs, less flexibility, more risk. The same system that enriched one group tightens around another. That's why wealth booms don't feel like booms to everyone. They feel uneven, because they are. Another overlooked factor is how housing reshapes opportunity. When property values rise, location matters more. People can't simply move to opportunity. Jobs cluster in expensive areas. Housing costs lock workers in place. This reduces mobility. It limits career growth. It traps people geographically. The wealth boom, instead of freeing people, anchors them. And then there's inflation. Rising house prices don't stay isolated. They push up rents. They influence cost of living. They affect wage demands. Even people who don't own homes feel the impact. Renters subsidize the wealth of property owners through rising payments. And because housing is essential, demand doesn't disappear. People don't opt out of shelter. So prices continue to climb, supported by necessity rather than choice. This creates a quiet transfer of wealth over time, from renters to owners, from younger to older, from late entrants to early adopters. It's not malicious, it's structural, and structures don't care about individual effort. This is why rising house prices can coexist with growing frustration. The economy looks strong, net worth numbers look impressive, but social tension rises. People sense the imbalance even if they can't articulate it. They feel like they're running faster just to stay in place, because they are. Housing wealth also reshapes how people think about risk. When prices only go up, caution fades. Leverage increases. Speculation becomes normalized. Buying multiple properties feels safe, until it isn't. Housing wealth booms are stable until they're not. They rely on confidence, on credit availability, on policy support. Interest rates matter. Employment matters. Demographics matter. When conditions shift, the same leverage that amplified gains magnifies losses. This is why housing crashes hurt so deeply. They don't just erase wealth. They destabilize entire systems built around it. But even without crashes, the long-term effects are profound. Rising house prices change how societies define success. Owning property becomes synonymous with being responsible. Renting becomes a sign of failure. Yet not everyone has the same entry point. Timing matters more than effort. And that realization can be demoralizing, because it suggests that outcomes are less about work and more about position. That doesn't sit well in cultures built on merit narratives. So the story adapts. People are told to hustle harder, to save more, to sacrifice longer. But the underlying engine remains housing inflation. This creates a paradox. Wealth is increasing, but trust is eroding. People don't feel rewarded by the system. They feel measured by it. And that brings us to the core truth. Rising house prices created a wealth boom because modern economies shifted from producing wealth to inflating assets. Instead of building more opportunity, they increased the value of what already existed. That benefits insiders. It penalizes latecomers. And over time, it reshapes society itself. The boom isn't fake, but it's not universal. It's selective. And understanding that difference matters. Because once you see that housing isn't just shelter, but a financial instrument, you stop measuring success the way you were taught. You start asking different questions. Who owns what? Who entered when? Who carries the risk? Who carries the debt? And most importantly, what happens when the next generation realizes the ladder moved? That question hasn't been answered yet, but it will be. And when it is, it won't just be about houses. It will be about what wealth really means in a system built on rising prices instead of rising freedom.